over the mountains. Today it continues to shift farther towards the south. This may continue to shift a little bit, but what you can expect at home, all of us have the threat for some ice. In northwest Arkansas, the ice threats will be just a little bit. We'll probably get a thin glaze, maybe up to 1/10 of an inch. Now you get south of Greenland towards West Fork and you get higher up into those Boston Mountains, traveling south on I-49 or US 71. We could try to get a little bit more ice, and then ice threats about 1/4 of an inch throughout most of the river valley. But you head south of Mount Magazine, south of Kavanaugh, south of Sugarloaf, we could have a little bit more ice. Here's a closer look at home for us with the latest data coming in this afternoon. The reason why the ice threats continue to go down in northwest Arkansas, which is good news, but we're replacing it with more snow. I'll show you the snowfall map here in a moment. In the river valley, we keep on to that ice threat as it continues to shift towards the south, but that dark purple color is where we're most worried, anywhere from southern portions of Logan County. This is just south of the Scenic Byway near Paris and Mount Magazine, and then south of Boonville. Scott County, Waldron, we're in the threat for a little bit more ice on the way, and then south of Lake Wister, south of Heavener towards Tallahena, we also have a good chance for a little bit thicker ice. But I think the majority of the river valley right along I-40 closer to that 1/4 inch. What does that mean? Well, we're getting a drastic difference depending on where you live. And I tell you, terrain is very difficult to forecast around here. You guys know it. But the ice threats continue to go down in northwest Arkansas. That's good. So we're closer now to 1/10 of an inch of ice, maybe up to 1/4, especially if you're in Washington County or Madison County. When we get between 1/10 to 1/4, so we're a little bit lower on the scale now, we can still get scattered power outages, but the problem is how quickly can crews respond? That's a big question, how long those could last, but it may not be quite as widespread, but we're still going to get scattered power outages in northwest. Roads are likely to become slick, but the bridges are going to become dangerous. Those will really ice over very quickly. The roads may take a little bit longer to ice, but we'll eventually get that thin glaze. And then on top of that, we'll throw some snow. 2009 ice storm, we were closer to here. So we definitely downgraded our ice threats a little bit because snowfall totals are going up. This one's colder than 2009. 2009, we didn't get all that much snow on top. It really was an ice event. Well, now we're starting to switch a little bit more from ice over to snow. In the river valley, we're still kind of under the gun right now in terms of ice impacts, anywhere between 1/4 inch of ice to 1/2 inch of ice. Generally in our area, what that means is we can get scattered power outages for 1 to 2 days. Roads will become hazardous. Doesn't matter if it's a bridge or just a normal road, be on the lookout. They're gonna get slick. And tree limbs could also start to get damaged. Once you get over 1/4 inch of ice, that's when you really gotta start looking out for those tree limbs. And then you just kind of exacerbate the issue, get tree limbs to break and then hit a power line. More power outages on the way. That 2000 ice storm that we had in the river valley, closer to the right-hand side of the spectrum. So we're a little bit down the way. We're kind of in the middle for our ice threats. But we're going to get ice, but we're probably going to get more snow. Across the state of Arkansas, the heaviest snow will be right here at home, right in western Arkansas and into eastern Oklahoma. Look how quickly the snowfall totals will go up just from south to north. You go from Fort Smith, where we could get maybe 2 inches of snow. There's going to be sleet mixing in too, and that will really mess with our snowfall forecast. So just keep that in mind. This is a rough estimate. That's our best guess on what we may get. Probably won't be exactly 2 inches, but we'll get somewhere near that. Once you head up into the Boston Mountains, different story. We get 3 to 4, maybe even up to 4 to 6 in parts of northwest Arkansas. But we'll transition from ice to snow very quickly for parts of extreme southwest Missouri and maybe parts of Benton County too, and Delaware County, where we get maybe over a 1/2 foot for some of us. So the farther north you go, the more snowfall we're going to get. But we're not nearly getting the most snowfall out of this storm system. You go north towards I-44, folks are going to be getting over 1 foot of snow, even up to 2 feet of snow. If you've got to travel this week going up north, or you just have friends or family in Missouri, let them know they got snow on the way. They probably already know, but these snowfall totals are crazy up north. However, they're not getting as much ice, and ice is much harder to deal with. We've kind of got a mixture of both, where we're going to get ice, and then on top of that, we'll get a mixture of some of that sleet and snow. A closer look at home, here are all the numbers. Once again, this is our best guess, and we'll continue to fine-tune these bands as we get closer. But 1 inch for parts of the southern river valley, for parts of Logan County and most of Scott County. 2 inch kind of swath anywhere just north and west of Clarksville as you head towards Ozark and Charleston, Franklin County, and then Sebastian County. A lot of us from Greenwood to Fort Chaffee and Fort Smith, we could try to get 2 inches of snow, maybe a little sleet on top of that too. That's on top of the ice. And then farther west, we're able to get some of that colder air. The reason why you see the map kind of dip towards the west is because as cold air is coming in from the north, right here we've got mountains. It's a little bit harder for that cold air to get through. It will. But you know, as you go west into Oklahoma, there's not much terrain once you get west of Sequoyah County. That cold air can just funnel right south and change over the ice quicker, and that's why those blue bands start to tilt towards the south. Sequoyah County, we could try to get 2 to 4 inches. Van Buren northbound into the rest of Crawford County, Alma kind of north into Mountainburg, Cedarville, Uniontown, closer to 2, maybe even up to 4 inches of snow. And then once you get north of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel, a lot of us will try to get 4 to 6 inches, I think, through the heart of northwest Arkansas, throughout the metropolitan area. But extreme northern Benton County and just west of XNA, we could be talking about half a foot or more. Right now, we're warm. We're getting some showers, though. You might see some of those raindrops hit your windshield later this evening. Everything's scattered. The heavier rain is in Missouri at the moment, but that cold front is sagging south. And as it does so, it switches from rain over to snow. We're starting to get that in northern Missouri. But later tonight, that cold front will get closer. We'll probably not make our transition over until tomorrow. However, there are some updates to that forecast. We'll get to that in a moment. But I first want to talk about the winter weather alerts. You've probably seen on Channel 5, you got it on. We've got that. It's called a weather crawl because it just crawls across the screen, giving you weather data. We'll let you know all the winter storm warnings and watches that are in effect area-wide for western Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma. But look how wide and expansive these warnings and watches are. The pink color, which does include all of northwest Arkansas and throughout most of the river valley, we've got a winter storm warning. The blue color still shows a winter storm watch. We'll have to see what the National Weather Service decides to do. To be honest, the reason why this is still a watch for, especially you're talking about Logan County, Scott County, and Johnson County, the reason why we're under a watch is the National Weather Service is still trying to figure out whether we'll upgrade it to a warning or talk about a winter weather advisory. That's the issue right now. That's the discussion going on. But until that's why we got to watch in the moment. That means we're watching for crazy weather on ahead. Already issued from the Tulsa National Weather Service, all this pink color showing you the winter storm warning, all of northwest Arkansas, the heart of the Fort Smith area. But once you go east, it's a little bit kind of unclear on what the warning eventually or advisory will be later on. Right now we're sitting in the 60s. Crazy to think tomorrow we're going to get ice, but we will. Those ice chances start to come into effect tomorrow, maybe even late morning. Here's another piece of the data. It's looking like we're getting a little less ice, especially northwest. A little less ice and more snow. The reason why, we're going to switch over to ice faster, and they'll switch over to snow faster because the colder air is going to be coming in quickly. Even by 9, 10, 11 o'clock towards noon, we could finally start to see that transition over to snow. You notice the temperatures. They're below freezing. You probably wonder, why are we not getting snow? There's a pocket of warm air right above our heads. You get a snowflake, it goes through that pocket of warm air, it goes back into the raindrop, it's got to melt. But then right here on the ground where we live, we're back below freezing, and then that raindrop super cools and then flash freezes. And that's why we got that freeze threat coming in for most of tomorrow. But I really think by about tomorrow noon, be on the lookout because roads are likely to become slick across northwest Arkansas. Benton County, Carroll County, Madison County, Washington County. By noon, things will start to get slick, and then they'll just get more slick later into the afternoon and evening we go. In the River Valley, we'll have scattered showers throughout the day, but we may not finally see that switch. Let me switch sides. We may not finally see that switch from rain to freezing rain closer to sunset. We've got a couple more hours that we're safe in the River Valley, so keep that in mind. Northwest Arkansas, we start to switch to ice right around noon tomorrow. A few of us maybe earlier, somewhere around that, give or take, right around noon. In the River Valley, won't make that transition from rain to ice until about sunset. Rain showers continue tonight. Let's walk through Futurecast. We'll have those overnight. We're not going to have any ice, I don't think, really tonight. But later into tomorrow, that's when we're talking about the freeze threats coming on in. We'll have that ice kind of throughout the day. Eventually, that shifts on towards the south, and we're covered in some of that freezing rain and sleet. That's that pink color indicating. But then late Wednesday night into Thursday morning, we'll switch over to snow. And then we should be snow for the rest of the time in northwest Arkansas. Snow continues as we go into the rest of your Thursday. Eventually, we'll switch over from ice to maybe more snow in the River Valley, but it'll take us a little bit longer, and then scattered snow showers likely throughout the rest of Thursday. That's why we got red weather alerts for Wednesday and Thursday, maybe even a stray flurry popping up for Friday too as we try to wrap things up with this storm. In the River Valley, we're going to see temperatures drop big time the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll probably have mainly rain. Got a little typo though, I gotta fix that. We got mainly rain for Wednesday, but then Wednesday after sunset, we'll switch over to some sleet, and then Thursday will be our chance for a mixture of sleet and snow. So to recap, the two big updates on the way is that we transition over to ice faster. That's number one. And our snowfall totals are starting to go up, especially in northwest Arkansas. I'm slowly kind of backing through the forecast here. Your widespread Arkansas view with the snow right in the northwest corners where we're going to have the most. You cross the state line in Missouri and then also portions of northeast Oklahoma. They'll get the most snow, but we've got a good wallop of snow, I think, coming in for northwest Arkansas. And then those amounts start to go down in the River Valley. But I think most of us, it looks like early indications seem to be that we're trying to get a coat pretty much area-wide in the River Valley too. How much is still a question. We'll get some ice and then throw on some snow on top of that. But a winter storm's coming in. It's probably our most impactful winter storm that we've had so far. Got some ice on the way too, as we continue to watch the difference between who gets mainly snow and who mainly gets ice. We're going to have your 5 news first at 4 coming up in just about 33 minutes. We'll have more updates there. And we'll continue to be live, of course, throughout the rest of the evening. Closer to 7 o'clock or so, we'll hop on again and do another live and talk about more data as it comes in later this evening after sunset. But be on the lookout. Conditions are likely to deteriorate here very shortly.